All right, we are back here on the Crash Port with the one and only Morgan Rose from Sevendust. Morgan, what's going on, man?
How you doing, buddy?
Good, man. I appreciate you coming on. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
So you got a new your solo debut EP out, Controlled Chaos. This is your first solo record. Now, did this come out? Did you decide to do this because of the pandemic, or was this the game plan all along?
No, I mean, it was definitely the pandemic. I never really had any, pillow talk desires, man, it'd be cool if I did a solo thing and sang a little bit on these tracks, because I write vocals and stuff. I could do that. That was the most I ever really got. And then pandemic hit after the initial shock wave of
I lost your video there.
yeah, sorry. My publicist is calling me to make sure I'm on the phone with you.
Okay.
um, uh, After the initial shock of it, and then realizing that it wasn't going to be like a few days and it wasn't going to be a few weeks, it's going to not just be a few months, but it could be whoever knows, but it's not going to be quick.
Yeah.
Um, Clint started working on an EP to follow up his solo record that got roasted from this thing. He put the solo record out, did one tour, and then the pandemic hit. So it totally wiped him out, which was crushing. And so he was doing an EP, and I was going to play drums on that. And I had put a drum part on something. I was in California. My girlfriend is a head engineer at a studio there. So I had gone in there one night and played drums on something. I realized I hadn't played drums in months, and I was like, damn, that was rough. And he said, I think I'm gonna go with programming on this thing, man. I was like, damn. like,
Oh my
just
God.
like just shafted me right there. Like, man, it's all good, man. He goes, no, man, it sounded good, man. But the organic sound of against what I'm thinking, the vision is different. I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. And he's like he's my closest. So um, I gave him shit about it, and he goes, man, you need to do this solo record. And I'm like, you're just saying that because you roasted me on your EP. And he said, no, man, I've got, what a vibe are you thinking? And I was like, dark and not Sevendust if possible. Like, I don't want to be singing Sevendust songs because Sevendust has a great singer and I am just out there, hacking away.
Sure.
And so I gave him this vision idea, and he's just a writing machine. He's got, he's like, what type of music you want? Jazz? I got 12 of them here. What kind of, oh, you want that? Polka? I got 4 of them over here. It's just, it's constant. So he sent me, a track, and I was like, I like this. I could work with this, and it was Clarity, and it was totally different. Just kind of a semi-dark, chill rock song. You know, and not none of that, no screaming, just regular old rock song, but it was cool and had a cool vibe. I wrote some lyrics that meant a lot to me about me that I wanted to convey. Instead of writing something that was about me and writing it for I would do co-writes. I write this stuff for other bands, and I'm like, now they're singing the fucking song about me. It's like weird. So I was like, it's cool. I can do this on my own. I did it. I thought it was going to be one song, put it out on my website and leave it, and did it. Manager told me I had to send it to Rise because they had first rights of refusal. They got it, said they wanted a record, and then I was doing a record.
And
So
Clint from Sevendust did a lot of the writing with you, right?
yeah, he did all the guitars on it, all of it. He wrote all those guitars and all those. I mean, he basically.
But I
Sorry about
lost your
that.
video again. There we go. All right.
Sorry about that.
No, you're
Fucking
good.
idiots. Am I allowed to swear on this thing? I'm sorry.
Yes, you can say whatever the fuck you want to say.
Okay. All right. Good. All right. Just so I don't have to like, oh shit.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. So he wrote those parts. He wrote those guitar parts.
So how
I
is
was telling.
the writing process then? If you guys are both in on it, how is it any different than the going in to write a new 7D record?
I mean, you just nailed it. It's like me and Clint have Call Me No One, and me and Clint are members of Sevendust, and me and Clint wrote for my solo record,
Right, right,
and
right.
it's all the same. It's
Yeah.
all the same. It's just the only thing that's different is there's a different person singing all three of them. And the other thing that's different is that we consciously didn't want to do a Sevendust record when we did Call Me No One. And then I consciously didn't want to do a Sevendust or a Call Me No One record when I did this. But really the testament is, I mean, I'm absolutely like, I look at Clint like he is the guy, you know, and like I said, he's got styles and he's got diversity in him that's so easy that, sorry about that.
No, no, you're good.
He's so easy that it's like, you know, he can write in any style. So when I give him a direction that I wanted to go in and boom, it's there like that. It's like, cool. We stayed out of everybody else's lane, you know? I mean, you're not going to find Exhale on a Sevendust record with LeJean singing it. Just not going to happen.
Well, and
It's not Angel Sun.
that's the song that's about your illness last year, correct?
Yeah.
I got to imagine it's got to be hard to really open up and get very personal like that. But in a way, it's almost probably got to be therapeutic, right?
The record was more therapeutic than I thought. They usually are. I mean, there have been records that I did a whole lot of lyric writing on. Alpha was one of them. That was the last one that really hit me like that because I had done a lot of writing on that record. But when you dig in like that, I mean, the way I write a lot of these, the songs that I write, whether it be for anything, whether it be Sevendust or me or other bands that I'm co-writing with, whatever it is, I go with a melody first, and then you kind of have words that'll slip in there syllable wise instead of going la 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 la. You know, you like will come up with some words just as placeholders, and then sometimes you get lucky, and those words will dictate a direction. And subconsciously those words that were coming out that were starting these phrases were starting some trouble. You know, they were starting me going down a path that I initially thought was writing about other people. And then when it was all over with and I looked at the words, I was like, damn, man, I just wrote this whole record like a fucking biography.
Yeah.
This whole thing is about how fucked up I am. You know, this whole record is about how twisted I really am. And, you know, and it's the weird part is that, and this is something that's strange, but when people say, you know, they're one person on stage or another person off stage, and the person off stage, you know, that's usually probably the real guy.
Yeah.
The guy on stage is for sure the one that's real. I mean, I'm more of a people pleaser. So to be able to exploit my personality and my feelings and stuff on a record, or of being isolated or sitting in the back on a drum kit and, you know, trying to bite a hole in brass hi-hats, that's a much more comfortable place for me. This world is way tougher, you know, so there's a whole lot more of like having to think of what I'm doing. And, you know, so vulnerability is something that I don't have a really hard time with. I mean, it's not real hard for me to talk about that stuff. Because I just wear it, you know, I accept it. That's just, you know, who I am. But I didn't realize how deep I'd really gone down that rabbit hole with myself until it was all over with.
Yeah. And as far as the illness last year, you're back to normal, right? You're feeling all better and everything's good to go.
Yeah. Yeah. Everything's good. I mean, it was weird because, you know, I got sick like in like mid-December, right before my birthday in December. And then February like 26th, I think, was the last day in the doctor's office of getting checkups and stuff. And that was the day they were like, you're good to go. You can do what you want. You don't have to worry about this happening again. You know, if it happens, it happens, but it's not because of anything, you know, it's just going to be, you know, it happens.
Yeah.
But you don't have to have any more surgery or anything like that. I was like, man, this is unbelievable. You know, I'm alive. I'm great. I feel great. I'm happy. I have some time off.
Yeah, it's got to be like a
You know,
massive weight lifted off your shoulders, I'm
oh
sure.
man, it was fucking beautiful time, you know. And then I came out to California here. I'd been dating this girl uh for about a month, maybe a month and a half, and we were just flying. I mean, rocket ship relationship. And I live in Atlanta and she's living in California. It's like, this is going to be tough, but we're going to make it work. And I come out to see her March 6th, and I'm supposed to leave on the 9th to go to New York, and the pandemic hits, and they're like, maybe you should wait a few days for these meetings that you're having. I said, all right, I'll just hang here for a bit. She goes, you stay as long as you want. 2 months later,
Yeah.
I mean, it was like 2 months, in a 1-bedroom apartment that she's, used to having some space. And then here comes this smelly old bastard, just fucking groping at her, for 24/7 for 2 months. It was like she was ready to get me out of here. So, yeah. And we've been through a lot too. I mean, this is a crash course in a relationship. I wouldn't have it any other way. There's got to be some turmoil and drama and chaos in my life for it to be comfortable.
Are you in Atlanta right now, or are you in California with her?
I'm in California with her. Yeah.
I was going to say
I just got here last night, but I'm half and half. I'm constantly Atlanta, California. She'll come to Atlanta. We have 2 homes. We have a home in Atlanta and a place here. So
yeah, I don't think, when this pandemic hit, I don't think anybody expected it to go this long. I mean, this is just fucking insane, man. I remember when it first hit, and I was like, oh, we'll just, because my main job is working in the music industry, and I'm like, oh, we'll just, we'll give it a couple months, and everything will go back to normal. We'll be good to go. And here we are, 9-10 months later, and it's like, oh my God, is this shit ever going to go away?
It's crazy, man. It's crazy. I remember saying it'll be a few days, and I'll never forget. I said, they're not going to shut the world down. I mean, and she was like, I don't know. They're talking about crazy stuff. I'm like, come on, girl. They're not going to shut the fucking world down. I'm like, oh, yeah, they are. Oh, yeah, they are. They shut our shit all the way down.
No kidding.
I was like, oh, my God, dude.
Things certainly got from bad to worse. But when this is all said and done, are you going to embark on a solo run and play these songs for people, or is this more of just almost like a passion project that's just going to go out there and you're not going to tour on it?
I think I'm going to end up doing a lot of this stuff. I think that, I mean, the response to it has been very good. I mean, for me, I'd call it overwhelming just because, I'm a fucking screaming drummer in a rock band, and all of a sudden I put a solo record out and it's being received well. And where I'm actually singing and people are shocked, and it's like, that's pretty cool. It's a fun feeling. And I like to write stuff about myself. I like to be an open book, and it's harder to do that outside of doing it this way, because I've got to use other people as my storybook, because it's not really fair to hand over something about me to somebody else to sing.
Yeah.
I have done it. I have definitely done it before, but I don't love it. And now I've found a way to do it outside of that. As far as playing it live, there's no way I would do a Phil Collins, Don Henley kind of thing. That would never happen. So,
well, especially with how charismatic you are behind the kid. I mean, oh my God.
I don't want any part of that. I don't like what I'm doing back there with the stupid mic to begin with. I don't want to add lyrics to that shit, But so there's been a few things, I mean, there's a thought that I might, if I wanted to, I'd get a singer and go out and I'd play drums and do it that way. I would never be comfortable being a front man. That's way too, like I said, the real guy's up there and the real guy likes to be back there. That way I can play in my own fucking feces by myself. It's like, I don't need to be, Gigi Allen and that shit to the crowd. I'd rather just be back there and playing my own vomit by myself, and not realize that honestly, what it feels like back there is an ostrich with his head in the sand. That's what it feels like to me. I look at the videos and then I'm like, oh my God, dude, how embarrassing is that shit? But I mean, when I'm in the moment of that, I'm just sitting in my own shit.
I got to tell you, I've only seen Sevendust live one time, and I was like, oh my God, it seriously was one of those performances. I mean, it gave me chills, and it was at a festival that you guys were headlining.
Oh wow.
It was Rover Fest, I think maybe 5 years ago, if you remember that.
What town is that?
It's like right outside Cleveland. I think it was that year. It was you guys and Flo Rida, I believe.
Oh my God, I remember that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that was a fun show. Flo Rida is they were badass too.
Oh, I know. I wasn't too sure about. It was an interesting lineup, and I was like,
Very
he fucking killed it, man. I mean, he put on a
killed it.
great show. That was just a great lineup overall. But yeah, that was the only time I've seen you guys, and you
Yeah.
guys put on a hell of a show, man. You really do.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. A lot of fun.
Well,
A lot of fun being there.
what's interesting is a lot of bands, it's normally just the singer or the guitar player or whatever. But Sevendust is one of those bands where you have just as much of a personality as Lejean or Clint or anybody, and it's to me that's a very interesting thing when all the members in the band can kind of have their own little persona. You know what I mean? And everybody knows their name. It's not like, oh, he's just the fucking
Yeah.
drummer. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's like what it started out as, I mean, somebody was asking me, how my writing started, when did I get into that? And I was like, all these things that I wanted to, that I thought were important back before we ever even started, like bands before this, whether it be you better write songs because you're a drummer and nobody gives a shit about the drummer, unless you're writing songs.
Yeah.
You don't get paid either. And I'm like, you should be writing because there's a reason, there's a purpose, there's something to say. And so I finally was just able to build myself into believing that I could be vulnerable enough to put things on paper. And melody was always easy for me. Music was in my household. I played piano when I was a kid. And so I understood the theory part of putting, phrasing together or putting progressions together. But when it came to the drums, it was like drummer gets no respect. And I was just like a fucked up kid that, like 90% of the other people my age back then, and it was like, I've got this outlet, that I can really start, exploiting the way that I feel in this little jungle gym by myself.
Yeah.
So, that was really my thing. I see a lot of people that go out there and they put on this quote unquote show, and whether it be any instrument, and I see them doing it. Sometimes it's over the top, and it's like, there are guys that do it and it's over the top, and you're like, that guy's got more than one loose up there. And then there's other guys that do it, and I'm like, and real.
Well,
That's
what do you
just
mean? What do you
seeing
mean by that exactly?
the contrived, the almost choreographed like visual, where
Okay, I
it's
got
like
you.
almost like just being that way for the sake of being that way. It's
Yeah.
not real.
Like it's
It makes
robotic
me feel
almost.
it makes me feel uncomfortable watching it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not, I mean, that's been going on for years. I remember we were on, I think it might have been Tattoo the Earth, and there was a band, and I can't remember the name of them, but I just remember, I mean, we were like, we don't know what to do. On our second record, we were like, I mean, I want to like headbutt the post of the fucking hi-hat through the middle of my forehead. It's like, okay, so what you're saying is you want to kill yourself on stage,
Yeah.
like you're, other than that, what do you want to do? Like, I couldn't figure out what else to do. I wanted to inflict some pain or receive it. Like, it needed to be a physical thing. And so I mean, I would cut myself up on the hi-hats. I mean, I would
Oh my
headbutt
God.
them, I would try to bite them, and it was like just complete Beavis, just like that was the feeling.
Oh my
And
God.
some of the other guys were like that too, they're like, man, we can't jump high enough. So what are we gonna do? Let's get some fucking trampolines. So they got trampolines, for Christ's sakes, in the front of the stage. These dudes are jumping off trampolines in the front of the stage. I mean, they should have been killed many times. And jumping, 15, 20 feet in the air, they're in the air, they're landing on the drums half the time. I'm playing it, somebody just crashes into it. I mean, that was the mentality. It was real. We don't have enough to get rid of. We are pissed off. We are aggressive. We are, we're all of these aggressive and disturbing, all these feelings that are going through us. And then when the lights go off and we're sitting in the bus or we're outside, we're so thankful and happy and well behaved. I mean, well behaved is maybe going a little bit, but I mean, we're considerate.
Yeah.
And so that was the place where we could lose our shit.
Yeah. Well, I think, especially, you guys back in the day, or Slipknot jumping off fucking balconies and shit back in the day. I mean,
Yeah,
got to get all that out,
absolutely.
and I think it fuels the creativity, especially early on. It's got to feel the energy of the band.
No question.
I think we are running out of time here, but real quick, so coming up in 2021, I think you guys just announced Sevendust. You're going to do a live stream playing Animosity in full, correct?
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, that should be fucking terrifying.
is there a
I don't.
date? Is there a date yet for that? Is there a truck in the
Yeah,
background or something?
yeah. There's a truck coming this way. A fucking, I don't know, a trash can. I mean, this has been like all I'm doing is disrespecting the interview. Like everywhere I go, there's somebody
Oh
calling
no,
me.
it's no problem. This
No,
show is a free for all. No problem.
but yeah, it's January. I know that early January, 4th or 6th or something. It just got announced recently. But yeah, so we're gonna do that. There's some of those songs that we never ever played live. Like we had finally gotten to the third record where it's like, you do your first record and it's like, we're gonna headline, cool, you're gonna play all of the record. And
Yeah,
then you're gonna have to play a cover song or two, or something. And then you get to the second record and it's like, okay, now we can play like most of both of the records. And then you get to the third record and it's like, oh damn, we don't have to play all the songs. And so that was the first record that we got. I mean, like we at some point had played every song off the first and second record. And then we got to Animosity and there were finally songs that now to this day we've never played live ever. And we'll play them at that thing. Thank God there won't be anybody there.
well, it'll be a real treat for Sevendust fans for sure. I mean, getting to hear that whole record in its entirety, and then also in February, COVID pending, I think you guys are going to Australia with Steel Panther, right?
I'm not, I'd like to say I'm just trying to stay cautiously optimistic with everything. But yeah, that's the plan. That's the plan.
Well, it's I'm sure you're with me. It's looking less and less likely every day, right?
It's crazy, man. Every day it's like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah. All right. Well, Morgan, I think that's all the time we have, but I do appreciate it. Thank you for coming on. And
absolutely. Thanks so much, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. We will be right back on the Crash Report. Hang on.
We'll see you next time on the Crash Report. While you wait, make sure to like and subscribe to the show, damn it. Thanks for listening.